Hey everyone, it's Zach. I'm sure this probably looks a little bit strange to everyone who's used to listening to my out of the park playthroughs. I wanted to try something different though. It's I've never been on camera before, so like I said, I'm sure this is as strange for you as it is for me. But I wanted to switch it up. I want to do something special. I still can't believe that I even have 100 or close to 100 subscribers. That many of you like to watch me play out of the park baseball. It's such a great community, such a great game. I have a blast doing it. So thank you for watching. The one thing I wanted to do today, you've probably heard me reference it before in my previous videos, but I like to collect baseball memorabilia. I'm sure you all do too, to a certain extent. We are baseball fans, and baseball fans mean that we collect things, whether it's cards, ticket stubs. I mean, I don't know. I've seen some really weird things people collect, and just share it with you all. If you like it, great. If not, you don't have to continue watching. It's totally fine. But I think I have some cool stuff that you'll enjoy, some from current players, some previous players, and we'll kind of walk through all of that. You can see I'm wearing my Miami baseball shirt. This is the first. I think this is the only time in my life red has ever looked good or relatively decent on me. I saw this as their jersey a couple months back, and I'm like, I need to get that shirt like that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. You can see that I don't record in some fancy studio. I am just in a room in my house. You can see my to-do list on the wall behind me. I just sit down and record. So anyways, the first thing I'm going to start with is, if you're a Pirates fan, you'll probably get a kick out of this. It's my Andrew McCutcheon signed baseball bat out of his model. It says a McCutcheon on it. Actually, pretty nice handwriting, not going to lie. Let me see if I can get that closer to you. 2013 NL MVP. Great handwriting, actually. I got this. I bought all the memorabilia I'm about to go through, but I saw this. I could get a pretty good deal. I got a pretty good deal for it, so I just pulled the trigger. I kind of have a complicated relationship with McCutcheon. It's not really complicated. I don't know him as a person. I hear great things. That's part of it. But I always think that he was a little overrated in Pittsburgh. He was definitely the best Pirate since Barry Bonds. I think he'll get eclipsed by Brian Hayes here in the next handful of years. But I always think he was a little bit more overrated than, or at least in Pittsburgh, versus production. Maybe that's just bias on my part. Maybe I expected more out of him. Maybe I expected like the MVP season all the time. I don't know. But I always, so that being said, and he was an awesome guy, awesome person. I know someone who used to live with his then girlfriend, now wife. So she interacted with him a ton and said that he was an awesome guy. So that makes me really like him. That's my kind of history with Kutch. The thing I noticed about Kutch, and I'm sure that Yankees fans have, Giants fans have, now Phillies fans, as he's doing it again this year, is that when April and May, he cannot hit worth shit. Month turns to June, July, August, the guy starts raking. September, he goes ice cold. It's those summer months where he is raking. So that's the first thing I have. Just a little McCutcheon righty, or my natural lefty here. Just something I think is pretty cool that I have lying around. The next thing I have to actually lean over here to pick it up. You'll notice throughout there's a theme. This is a signed copy of Ted Williams. I can't remember if that's his last home run or not, but I got that relatively cheap. I think only a couple $100, and I don't know. I'm a big fan of hitters. You'll see that with the balls I have collected coming up. So I have that hanging up somewhere. But Ted Williams, not only was he one of the best hitters, lefty like me, one of the best hitters of all time, also went and gave up 2 years of his relative prime, I guess, to go serve in World War II. Huge bonus points there. He started, I believe, prickly with the Boston media, but I think near the end of his career, he turned out to be a pretty good guy in that city. So I like Ted Williams, always appreciated him. That's my, Ted Williams painting, or not painting, the actual picture that I have signed by him, which may be my favorite that I have, just because for the historic aspect of it and the great deal I got. I bought all this pretty much from one guy from a sports memorabilia website too, and if I remember, I'll put his information, if he still works there. I have no idea because I got this like 2 years ago. I'll put his information in the link and hit him up, and he can give you some great deals. He really can if you're interested in owning some of this. So now I have about, I don't know, like 20 balls to go through, I think. And we'll start with another Pirate favorite all time. That's Willie Stargell there of We Are Family fame. Just a complete and absolute legend in the city of Pittsburgh. So had to get this. I tried to mix up between famous players I loved growing up, historically great players, and then like up and coming players. And he was one of the first ones that I had to get when we're thinking of Pirates historically, because the guy meant so much to those teams in the 70s. So. And Roberto Clemente's was like way too much money. So the next one, all-time greats. Won't spend too much time on Al Kaline. I don't think a ton of people watching this video will probably know who Al Kaline was. One of the all-time great pitchers in MLB history, let alone Tigers history. Pretty straightforward signature there. Good guy, good dude for all intents and purposes as well, from what I hear in Detroit. That also goes a long way, and who I like and things like that. So, I wanted to go with Al Kaline. Represents kind of I lived in Miami, I lived in Detroit, kind of represented my time in Detroit there. So, with those two down, here's another hitter of all time. That's Wade Boggs. Kind of an ugly signature. Don't really. Has the only way I was really able to make it out again, I remember who it was, is because of the Hall of Fame 05. That sparked my memory there. But I make that face because he played for some teams I don't like, and he doesn't really have any strong personal history to me. He's just a very good hitter and someone that I wanted to add to the collection. So I don't know if anyone sees this, going to be super passionate about him. This is Willie McCovey, one of the all-time greats. McCovey Cove in San Francisco, named after him. This one was, I think, less than $100, if you can believe that. And I'm catching myself looking at the screen, not the camera. I apologize. But yeah, this was less than $100 that I got it for. So I saw I had to jump on it. Giants great Willie McCovey. So this next one, Ozzie Smith, an all-time great defender, Hall of Fame class of 02. You can see, I don't know if that's the end of his O there, or if he made a mistake and had to start the O over again. But I think, I may be biased because of my name, but I think that the cursive Z's are some of the best letters in the alphabet. But again, just dynamic at shortstop. Didn't really bring the bat to the office to work, but when you're as dynamic as he was in the field, you can let some of those things slide. This is one that everyone who's watching will be aware of. I'm confident in that. This is a Futures Game ball by Fernando Tatis. When I opened this up, I had to double check to make sure it wasn't like a forgery, because I'm like, I have, it's certified, but I know some of that, JSA certified, but I know that the quality of that is hit or miss depending on who you ask. But it doesn't look anything like Fernando, doesn't look like anything like Tatis, and that's how I remember this ball, because I'm like, if I have to think, who the hell is that? It looks like no legible name whatsoever. It's the Tatis ball. So yeah, just a wild signature. But he's hopefully going to end up being one of the, I don't want to say all-time great shortstops, but maybe great shortstops of the era. Let's just say that. So that's another good one. Here, this might be a little bit of a controversial ball, if anyone can make that out. It's the liar himself, J-Lo's former husband. I believe they've broken up. Alex Rodriguez. He gets a lot of shit. Deservedly so. He's a weird dude. I don't know if he's a bad guy. He is just weird as all get out. But that should not, well, it could take away. But we forget how good he was. Early in his career in Texas, he was the first one to sign a mega contract. I remember hearing that deal when I was a kid, and that was just the amount of money. I think it was $250-some million at the time, was just mind-boggling to me. That contract now, if he were to sign that, it would be like a 12-year, like $450 million contract, something like that. I think we too often forget how good of a player he was and how good of a hitter he was. Had he not been suspended, I can't remember what year that was. What was that? 2011 maybe? 2011 he was suspended, I think. I have no idea. If he wasn't suspended that year, and I think he was coming off like a really good season too. If he could challenge, maybe not for the all-time home run mark, but maybe, second or third on that list. Maybe beating out Hank Aaron, maybe Babe Ruth. The guy could launch him, and he could launch him deep too. And he always got a lot of shit. Most of the time, it was deserved. Some of it, I think, was a people just wanting to pile on the guy. So this one here, also a weird signature in line with the Tatis one. This is Slammin' Sammy. I got this one to. I know he's not from. I know he has. I don't think he has any relation to Miami at all. But I think that his kind of personality embodied my stay in Miami the most. Just the baseball, been very, very good to me. And just the personality he had was awesome. And yes, the cork bat, yes, the steroids, yes, his, I don't want to touch on what he looks like now because that might be unfair. I think he actually has a condition. But at his prime, he was so fun to watch. And that's something coming from a Pirate fan who hates the Cubs, hates everything to do with the Cubs. You still have to love Sammy Sosa. I can never tell which way I'm holding. With his signature, I can never tell which way it's supposed to go. I have no idea. This one was like $120, which I feel like wasn't. I know I'm giving prices to these. Maybe I shouldn't do that. I don't know. But I felt like that was a good deal for his. This is probably the crown jewel. And I won this. I know, I bought this. I can't remember. Whatever. This is the man, the myth, the legend. Just a basic ass signature for the next one. The next coming of, I don't know, Jeter. This is Wander Franco. It's a official minor league ball, which I think is pretty cool, to be quite honest. Weird signature. W, you can see the F, and then not really sure the squiggly lines in there. I guess that's maybe the A, the strike through the A, and then just kind of wrap up Franco. I think it's the most, I would say probably the most compact signature that I have. Just, between the laces, just Wander, just W Franco right there. So there was no one more excited about his opening day, or I should say, first MLB game 2-run shot than me. Well, maybe a couple other people who have his ball or his card, but I was pretty pumped about that. So, yeah, there you go. I feel like that's the moneymaker, so people want to see. That's Wander Franco right there. Compact signature, very compact. This one it will be controversial as well. I think one of the best ball players of all time, Barry Bonds. I would love to get this analyzed by a handwriting expert. If anyone is a handwriting expert, let me know. Would love to know what this says about him. I just think it's a very unique handwriting, very unique signature. I think he had a borderline Hall of Fame career before he left Pittsburgh, and maybe that's just remembering. Well, I didn't really remember him. I was too young, but hearing of his career too fondly. One of the all-time best hitters, I think. If you're thinking of hitters, I have a couple great ones coming up here, but you have Ty Cobb, Barry Bonds, Babe Ruth, all in that top category. You maybe have your like Napa Joys, you have your Honus Wagner. But I think they're still a tier below. I think if you're talking best hitters, it has to be Ruth, Bonds, or Cobb. I'm probably missing someone. I'm probably going to get some hate comments. I don't know. But he should be in the Hall of Fame, regardless if he did steroids or not. He was an asshole, sucked as a person. The statistics and the stories about him, being walked to the bases loaded are just unbelievable. You almost can't imagine that happening nowadays in baseball. Someone being walked to the bases loaded like that. It's just he made you worry so much and made you game plan, an inning in advance because he was going to be up in the next inning. So, love Barry Bonds. I mean, could steal bases, could play decent defense in his prime, could play above average defense in his prime. I just wish he would have went to the American League team. I still almost feel like he, if Big Papi lasted, 10 years after his expiration date, Bonds could still be hitting. And I know that's a hot take for any Red Sox fans that watch this, but anyways. This one, I believe I hear not bad things, but just he's not a great person. I could be wrong. Gavin, if you're watching me, let me know. If anyone who knows Gavin Lux is watching this and I'm wrong, let me know. But I hear he's kind of, not the best guy. And I guess I hear that because the Dodgers weren't sure about his maturity. That's what I hear at least. But grabbed him. This is I won like a little raffle. There was like one of, 10 balls I could choose from. And this was one of them, Gavin Lux. Supposed to be an all-time, or not an all-time hitter, I'm sorry. He's supposed to be a above-average second base hitter or shortstop. He like splits part-time with Chris Taylor now, who he's having an all-star season. There's so much depth in that LA team that I don't know when the next chance. I mean, it could be next year, I guess, because I think they have some free agents leaving, but I don't know when the next chance he is going to have to actually start 162 games and play that bulk of that position. So would be interested to see him play. His hit tool hasn't really transferred to MLB. I think the last time I was looking at his average, he was like hitting like 217 or something like that, which it's no bueno. I think defensively, I think he's fine. But I think his bat was what was expected to take him to another level. So maybe it's, if he gets more repetitions, he gets in the field more, maybe he's one of those players that play better. I shouldn't even have to, all I have to do is the batting stance. Pull up the bat, do the batting stance, and you would know who it was. But the all-time favorite growing up, that is the Ken Griffey Jr. ball right there. You can tell. I just want to just show you a couple examples. That's Ken Griffey. Beautiful K. You can see the G. Wish the G was a little darker. Beautiful J. You could tell this guy signed autographs his entire life. Just an incredible ball. Barry Bonds, same way. You could tell he's going through hastily. Willie Stargell, same thing. Just beautiful, beautiful signatures. And then you have someone who has just turned, 20? Wander Franco. Just legit chicken scratch. So, yeah, but this is Ken Griffey. Not much else needs to be said about him. One of the smoothest swings. The smoothest swing I've ever seen. One of the coolest guys. Pure just, almost reminiscent of me in my lifetime at least, to a Tiger Woods early in his career. Just was cool, to me at least. I don't think Tiger was actually kind of awkward in real life when he was growing up, but he just seemed cool, just exuded cool in everything that he did. Shame about his hamstring. Same he couldn't win with the Mariners. But one of skill set wise, not one of the top 5 players of all time. If I'm ranking my favorite players of all time, he is absolutely in the top 5. So this is a random assortment of Pirates players from like the 1990s. My dad, that you could see Ricardo Rincon right there. My dad worked at the steel mill when I was growing up, and his coworker, or I think it was just his coworker, had season tickets to Behind the Plate, and he was friends with Al Martin, who turns out Al Martin, I think he had a couple girlfriends and wives, but this ball, can't say anything bad about him. He got me, got this signed for me. But yeah, Al Martin got this signed through the locker, went through the locker room, got it signed. I can make out Ricardo Rincon. You saw that name there. Here, I'll go. Yeah, there's Ricardo Rincon. You can see a Tuzak. I think that's Gene Lamont, actually, the old Pirates coach at the time. Which is, look at that G. That's like founding father. That's like founding father-esque G right there. Tony Womack was the one from that team that I would really love to know. And I can't find it for the life of me. So, I think that's actually, now I'm looking at it, I think that might be Jason Kendall. See the J there, see the S, see the K. I don't know what that dip is at the end, so could be Jason Kendall. Maybe a stretch. But anyways, no idea who's in that ball. This is a random assortment of Pirates players from the mid-90s. I think that was 96 team, I think. So not a great one. There hasn't been many in my lifetime. I think this is the first one I got. The first one I purchased was Pete Rose. Hit King. Hit King, baby. There's such a difference between watching Pete Rose highlights. It's inscribed with the number of hits. I should probably point that out. He ended his career. He surpassed Ty Cobb for total hits, 4,256. Obviously busted for gambling, or I guess wasn't busted for gambling. Assumed he gambled on his team. That's which is keeping him out of. He admitted to gambling, but on the Reds, that was enough to get him out of baseball. Regardless, whether he bet on whoever or not, the guy could make contact. And I think it's so funny watching early Pete Rose highlights to old Pete Rose highlights, like his when he's older. The guy could still hit, but he looks so different. To me, at least, he looked incredibly different from. That's how the aging process works, Zach. I understand, but I just think it's so interesting. You see the same swing on a guy who's a lot heavier, less athletic, but still able to catch the ball. So, Pete, appreciate you, brother. Okay, we'll go with. You got to have need for speed, baby. Rickey Henderson. This signature reminds me of someone. He's signing it. He's like, I write fast, I run fast, baby. I run like I write, or I write like I run. You see the quick Rickey, and then you just see him stopping his name halfway through. All-time base stealer. I've said all-time a lot here, which either means I say it a lot or I have a lot of sweet stuff. I don't know. But the guy could run like no other. He was before my time, before my cognitive. He was still playing when I was born, but he wasn't at the height of his powers when I started following baseball. But Gehrig's, not Gehrig. DiMaggio's 56-game hit streak. Or is it Gehrig? I don't know. I'm having a brain fart now. Total brain fart. This is embarrassing. This is one that I have to know. But I think the 56-game hit streak and Rickey Henderson's stolen base records are the Rickey Henderson stolen base records are a notch below the hit streak for the most difficult to break in MLB from anyone who's coming up now till the end of time. They just don't steal this way like they did before, or in today's game like they did before. maybe the game, everything, history repeats itself. History's a pendulum, or life's a pendulum. What is old becomes new again. So maybe one day the game is played like they did in the 80s. But even if that happens, you still have to find someone with the confidence of Rickey Henderson, with the speed of Rickey Henderson, with the longevity of Rickey Henderson. So many of those things have to go right to find someone who's going to break Rickey Henderson's records. And I just don't think that's going to happen. I think in terms of the pantheon in baseball, unbreakable records, 56-game hit streak, and then pick one of Rickey Henderson's one, whether it's stolen bases in a season, career stolen, whatever one you want to pick, that's number 2. Just and you gotta love the swag, the confidence. I think he had the speech when he stole, I think it was third base for his record. He took the bag and I think he talked about how he was the greatest ever, which, hey, whatever. You gotta love it. The last is one of my favorite all-time players, Tony Gwynn. Great signature, great T, great G, distinct who it is. And I've never heard anyone say a bad word about Tony Gwynn. The stories that you hear with Tony Gwynn, I feel like, are similar to the stories that you hear with like Greg Maddux with his strikeouts, or with his longevity, or how he walks so few batters, and that's the same thing with Tony Gwynn with like strikeouts. I know there's bizarre statistics, and I can't remember any of them off the top of my head. But Tony Gwynn, not only was he an incredible human being, this guy could connect with any ball. There are very few hitters, even among the sea of balls I have in front of me, that I would take against an elite pitcher straight up. He is one of them. Ichiro Suzuki, probably another. Bonds, another. But out of that, taking the pitcher, but he is one of the few that I would take. Such a great swing. I remember him near the tail end of his career. He played in San Diego. Didn't get to see him a whole ton. If Tony Gwynn played for the New York Yankees, and I think I made this point before, if Tony Gwynn played for the New York Yankees, he would be known as like one of the greatest baseball players of all time. Or if he played for the Chicago Cubs or the Los Angeles Dodgers, he would be known across the country as one of the greatest players of his era and maybe ever. But the guy was just low-key, great guy. Sorry that he passed away. He might be my choice if I had to pick one person in baseball that played since I had been born. He would maybe be the one I would choose to have dinner with. I would love to talk to Tony Gwynn about hitting. Would love to talk to him about life. Would love to talk to him about his experience on the road and how he kept a humble head and all that kind of stuff. I would love that. So there's still notable players I haven't got yet. I have, it's like my triumvirate. It's the holy grail for me. Roberto Clemente, so rare. Ty Cobb, so rare. Those were 2 of the 3, and then Ichiro Suzuki. As you can see, I like hitters. I like contact hitters. I like when the game was played like that. Not to sound like a boomer, but bring back fear of the strikeout, man. Bring back people who don't want to strike out. Bring back people who can put the ball in play. And yes, I understand, the OPS. You guys listen to my channel. I understand all that shit. But there's just something to be said about putting the ball in play that I love. And you also see there's no pitchers here. I only pitched a year, I think, growing up. Threw a 4-hitter once. It's the highlight of my pitching career. But I played second base and batted second. So all my guys, or a lot of the people that I pick, kind of fit the mold. So, well, I hope you enjoyed that. I have a bunch of other football stuff, but maybe we'll do a football a podcast episode on that. So thanks for joining me. If you stuck it through this point, I really appreciate you. Appreciate you watching all my playthrough videos. Thought we'd just switch it up here where I would go through some of the things that I find as interesting. And maybe if this is gets enough of a traction, or you guys like this video enough, I'll talk I'll do something about my baseball cards or something. I don't know. Not as fun as my memorabilia, I'll tell you that. So appreciate y'all watching. I will see you in the next Out of the Park baseball video. And as always, let's go Bucks.